Hello everyone. Welcome to Dr. Rajkumar Academy. Welcome to the session on 2012-2022 guys. So now yes, we have really serious issues to be discussed today and it's historic in certain things. The first most important thing is COP15 summit adopts historic biodiversity deal. Now, what exactly is this guys? I'll explain you a little bit here. See, in 1968-69, during this, the world community realized that it is very important for us to focus on environment because in Europe, US, and many other developed parts, environment was completely degraded. So they all felt there is a need for us to focus on environment. So in 1972, they all met at Stockholm and focused on environment. But the biggest challenge was many developing countries like India and all told protecting environment is fine, but poverty is the biggest polluter. So it is very important to reduce poverty rather than focusing on environment first. If you need to focus on environment, you need to reduce industries. If you need to focus on environment, you need to reduce deforestation. Now I want to construct my industries. I have not yet developed. Poverty is still there. If I have to feed my people, I need money. So India and many other countries argued that development is important, whereas we respect environment. So we will do what can be done, but we can't compromise on development. It was at this point in 1992 people came up 1988 1992 people came up with the concept of sustainable development where it is a balance between environment and development as well. So this is the beauty that India adopted and the world adopted. Now in 1992 they all met at Rio and they discussed about sustainable development. At that time, people also spoke about climate change. And they told that climate change is a significant threat. We should try to reduce it. So that led to formation of UNFCCC. And there was also what we call about protection of biodiversity, which was called as Convention on Biodiversity. We call it CBD. So CBD came into picture. So the countries met separately to discuss about climate change. The countries met separately to discuss about biodiversity. In the news, climate change is more heard mainly because there is a solution to it. You had two important protocols. One was Kyoto Protocol, another one was Paris. Both these aimed at giving solution to climate change. And in the negotiations, most importantly, money was involved, where they told approximately they will give $100 billion every year to developed countries. So everyone in the world were focused about climate change negotiations. Biodiversity has certain important measures, certain important themes like Aichi biodiversity targets were there, Nagoya Protocol was there. You had certain interesting things. But today, all the countries, with the help of China, in China there is a place called Kunming, and in Canada, Montreal. So they have come up with this Kunming Montreal Agreement. A beautiful agreement, guys. Now, the first most important thing it says is we all should try to protect 30% of the land by 2030, guys. 30% of the land we need to protect or conserve by 2030. Very, very important. Fine. So, in climate change, we tried to say that we should try to limit temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius of pre-industrial levels. So whatever was there at the pre-industrial level, if I take it as an average, the temperature should reduce to 1.5 degrees Celsius. In this, the most important thing is, developing countries are not willing to give much money, whereas developed countries will or has accepted to give $20 billion, right, by 2025, and then provide $30 billion by 2030. That means every year, guys, they have to give $20 billion, $30 billion. There are approximately 37 developed countries who will be giving all these aspects to us, guys. Fine. And then we all have an issue as well, guys. Let me explain that issue. Now, when I take forest, right, normally the tendency is to separate forest and indigenous people. Fine. To separate forest and indigenous people. That means tribal communities from the forest. This had led to Naxalism and many other issues in India as well. So today they are trying to say that indigenous people, tribal people should not be evicted from the forest. They should be made part of the forest, which is a very, very important aspect. Indigenous people must be part of the forest. In India, we went for Forest Rights Act. First, we had Forest Conservation Act, where we separated forest people from the forest from the tribal communities. That is, we told whoever tribes are present in the forest, you have to go out. But that led to Naxalism and many other issues. Then India in 2006 went for Forest Rights Act. According to Forest Rights Act, we said indigenous people are already part of the forest. So if you are telling forest conservation, you need to conserve those indigenous people as well. And then, guys, what all should be done? Yes, we should preserve biodiversity. At the same time, we should also reduce pesticides usage. The world community is asking to reduce pesticides usage. India is excessively dependent on pesticides. So it is very difficult for us to reduce pesticides at a time. So India has asked for time, give us some time. And in most of our countries, we are all dependent on this. It will take time, but definitely we will do it. So pesticides usage must be removed, and we also need to focus on biodiversity in the oceans and always. So these are some of the things that were important. I'll just show you certain things for you to read. Yes, I hope you made notes of all this. My only concern is, like, leave 1 or 2 pages. I will be adding lot of topics to this over a period of time, guys, because there you will have lots and lots of texts on this, like, so very, very important. Kunming Montreal Agreement, guys. You can see here Kunming Montreal Agreement, COP 15. Remember this COP 15? Yeah. 57.5% Twitter users vote to oust Musk as firm's CEO. So here we all must be aware that, like, Twitter had actually taken up by Musk. Twitter was actually taken up by Elon Musk, and after that there is significant, like, issues going on. So he's a very good administrator when it comes to Tesla, or when it comes to his PayPal and other things. But, like, everything is not everyone's cup of tea. So people should realize and come out of it as soon as possible. Karnataka turns away Maharashtra leaders at Belagavi Bridge. So, guys, when we look at this particular one, uh, at Doodh Ganga, like, just remember that place that may be important for you, Doodh Ganga. So what is happening here? The Maharashtra want people wanted to enter and say that, like, where all Marathis are there, it should become part of Maharashtra, because the states were reorganized on the basis of language. So these were some of the things which we had issues with. Don't worry, it's fine. It's a very, very good article by Shashi Tharoor. This is not a political article, guys. It is not about BJP. It is not about Congress. It is about India. So it's very rare that politicians write about India without bringing in Congress BJP fight. But fortunately, this is a very good article, especially for PSIR students and also for international relations, guys. So here, uh, Shashi Tharoor is arguing certain aspects which I would like to explain you in a detailed manner. Now, in international relations, we have certain concepts like realism. Realism says that international relations is made up of states. It is state centric, and every state want to protect its sovereignty, and there is no one to protect any state. So its own survival is important. So every country should focus on its own power, national power. So whereas you have countries or people who are liberals, they say today is an interconnected world, completely interconnected world. And in this interconnected world, only states are not there, but we also have other actors. Correct? If only states are there, we should be worried. Only states are not there. We have other actors. Who are the other actors? MNCs are there, NGOs are there, right? So when you have so many different communities which are present in an interconnected world, power is not so important. That is, when we talk about power, what exactly is power? People say you have hard power, you also have soft power. If you use military means to achieve what you want is hard power. If you try to use, like, your good aspects, the way you try to help people, right? If you support countries, then it is called a soft power. So if India calls Bhutan and asks India to do something, and if they accept it, it is soft power. Bhutan says no, I will put sanctions on Bhutan and get my work done. Hard power. So Shashi Tharoor says this is a world of soft power, and in the soft power, any one country cannot dominate the world. Please understand this. Any one country cannot dominate the world. There was a time when we used to say Pax Romana. That means, Romans were the most influential people. There was a time of Pax Britannica. They were the most powerful people on earth. There was Pax Americana. America was the most powerful after the end of Cold War. And Shashi Tharoor used the term Pax Indica, where he wanted to tell Pax Indica is not India being dominant in the world, but India will play a significant role. And he was the one who first introduced the policy multi alignment. He didn't say, non alignment. Today, India is multi aligned. He used this term in 2009 itself. Now, he says, in today's world, if you have to be powerful, you need to engage in every action at its own level. Now, you have something called as, like, okay, see, during Cold War, the fight was mostly between US and USSR. Talk was between US and USSR. We used to say the talk is between East and West. But today the talk is between North and South. So when we say North and South, North is developed countries, South is developing countries or least developed countries. North and South, developed, developing. India is considered to be the leader of South. Fine. Many countries in this developing country expect India to take a lead, talk to North, and bring some solutions. Why? Because they believe that India has connections with the North. And because of these connections, India will be able to help to achieve certain goals of the developing countries. So, in North South, India will play a very, very important role. There is a group of 77 countries of this. Today, this has reached to 120, and all these countries look for India and India through IPSA. India, Brazil, South Africa tries to focus on South cooperation. That is, we always talk about the needs of the developing countries. India has also helped developing countries by establishing new international economic order, which was aimed at, reducing inequality between developed and developing countries. So Shashi Tharoor argues that India has different role when it comes to SCO, when it comes to Quad, when it comes to G77. The way India deals at every level is completely different, and that makes way because today the world is not state centric. Today it is much more interconnected, and in the interconnected world, what is more important is the soft power which India already has, and India should work on that. Fine. So this is very, very important. Tangible outcomes for biological diversity convention are far away. That's what they try to say. This is not required. Destiny's man is a messy issue, guys. Criminalizing consensual relationship. So they're talking about children below 18 years who are into consensual relationship. It must not be made into criminal one. CS minister has told that 80% decline in insurgency has occurred in northeast. So Indian government with its talks with what we call as Myanmar and Bangladesh, we are in a position to ensure that today the issues are reduced a lot, right? Yeah. This in Karnataka, Betta Kuruba, Kadu Kuruba is actually given ST status. Tribal communities are in news, guys. I can predict a simple question on all the tribal communities and the respected states as well. Match the following, they may really give you. You can make a note separately. Betta Kuruba, Karnataka. Kadu Kuruba, Betta Kuruba. Now, ban imposed by coastal states on purse seine fishing not justified. So, yes, some coastal states of India, like Tamil Nadu and all, has banned Persisine fishing. Is Persisine fishing means going for deep water fishing, and it is believed that when you go for such deep water fishing, normally you will catch turtles and all, and it may lead to biodiversity loss significantly. But the central government has told that we need not worry about it because the damage done to such resources are very, very less, and we should allow the fishers to continue doing in that particular area. So this is the issue with respect to fishing, guys. But just remember, Persisine fishing. Belagavi case is going on, guys. Opposition walks out of house over China issue. They're asking, did the leader talk and all? We are not aware about these, guys. That will be going on. Waiting for Rahul, connect with people. Rahul. Opposition finds faults with center's fiscal management. See if there is any concrete things, then we will try to read. Jawans stood their ground at Yangtze, a place that will be remembered for long, and anti-piracy bill. Yeah. So, guys, anti-maritime piracy bill. The meaning of this is in the high seas. Let me say in the high seas, someone is doing piracy, and if India catches them, or if Indian ship was going, and if someone tried to kill them, Let us say, like an Indian ship was going, someone caught them. Some pirates of Africa caught them, and these pirates were caught by Italy, and Italy took them to their country. And then India will tell, see, these pirates have done problem to India, send them back to us. So Italy will be willing to send it to us. They won't mind because the crime has been done against India, they will send back. But the problem is they won't send if there is death penalty in India. Several Catholic countries believe that death penalty is wrong. So they will never allow any person from their country to come to India if we say we are going to hang him. So in Abu Salam case with Portugal, when he was caught in Portugal, Portugal sent him to India with a condition that you should not put him for death penalty. So then Indian courts ensured that life imprisonment is given, but not death penalty. So if at all we need to have in future, not now, in future also, if at all we need to have a situation where, we get others extradited from other countries, then the death penalty clause must be removed. So in anti-maritime piracy bill, the opposition had requested that remove death penalty and make it imprisonment, and the government has agreed on that. So Chandrachud, after he came, almost nearly 7,000 cases have been finalized. It's a very good thing. Finland is asking for Indian nurses and tech workers to go to Finland as they have labor crunch, guys. So that's a very good thing. A lot of people can go and work there. Guys, Europe is actually facing one of the biggest problem, guys. And that big problem is with respect to demography. Youth are reducing there. So it is very important for them to look for alternative. Russia kamikaze drones hit Kyiv. UK judges rule Rwanda deportation plan lawful. Because this is important. Uh, any refugee, if he enters into UK don't want to look into them. They want to send them to Rwanda. So if someone comes through asylum to UK, they want to send them to Rwanda. They have an agreement with Rwanda that we will bring the people here. Monetary policy is hostage to vegetable prices. PM Economic Advisory Council member. See, guys, what they are trying to say here is it is very important for us to look at the prices of vegetables and stabilize them by taking measures, because every time when we look at inflation, we always hear about food inflation, and that too about fruits and vegetables. And vegetables is the most important thing which people consume every day. And it is important for us to ensure that the regular supply is there of that. If you don't have regular supply of vegetables, demand and supply mismatch increases, and inflation will always be a problem. So to reduce inflation, we need to manage this, right? So this is what it is trying to argue with. So guys, these were some of the important issues. Thank you, guys.